How's it going, everyone? Kellen Olson, Arizona sports editor and reporter, here from the end of World Series Game 3 with Alex Weiner. 2-1 Rangers in the series now after tonight. Where do you want to start? Because there's a couple of key moments in the game. I think we can just start with, get the robots in already behind the plate and just quickly breeze past what everyone's talking about, right? Fair to say?
I mean, it's a storyline for a reason. I mean, it was notable enough for Torey Lovullo to get asked questions about it, and obviously most notably the Gabriel Moreno call at the end of the game, where, the box on the TV and the box on game day say something different than home plate umpire Alfonso Marquez, and Torey said he wasn't thrilled by it. He kind of backtracked and say, but these umpires are doing their best. But it's unfortunate that it becomes something to talk about, especially for the fans watching the game on TV, but certainly not the only reason why they lost this game, so they can get into the kind of the baseball reasons behind this.
Let's get into the baseball reasons that don't have to do with our eventual overtaking by artificial intelligence, shall we? Alex, does that sound good? All right, great. Brandon Pfaadt. Brandon Pfaadt was great. He was great, but he just made a couple of mistakes. Maybe just one mistake, really. Gabby Moreno on the 2-run homer for Corey Seager, setting up away, low, and the ball was in and middle, and Corey Seager turned on it, ripped it. I was in the center field section. We had a great angle on it where it was just, that ball was destroyed, but there was also a mistake before that. The Christian Walker base running, Tony Perez-Chica, I don't know where you want to assign the blame on that. Just where do you want to start with those mistakes early in the game?
Yeah, let's go with the Walker one because it sort of started it, because it was an early opportunity to gain some momentum in this game and go up. Christian Walker gets a little bit of an ovation and just drills this double. It looked like an awesome moment for him and a good start to a potentially big game. Tommy Pham follows up, also kind of hits one right on the button to right field. So Walker's explanation after the game was he got a late break on the ball because he wasn't sure if it was going to drop right away. Once he read that it was, he said that slight hesitation. He, looked up. He saw third base coach Tony Perez-Chica waving him in, dropped his head, and was just trying to make up the ground that he lost. Obviously TP puts up the stop sign. Christian Juan runs right through it, and Adolis Garcia, who has one of the best arms in the entire sport, throws him out at the plate by a step. So, that's a tough situation there, and then they end up not getting any runs in that inning. It's kind of a weird inning still, because Alek Thomas, that was the inning where he chops one off of Max Scherzer, bounces to Josh Young at third base, and he throws him out with a barehanded play. So, tough opportunity lost there. And then you mentioned the Pfaadt inning. I mean, all 3 runs came on 2 outs. That pitch to Seager, you mentioned the mistake, it was right in Seager's wheelhouse. You want to pitch him away, and that's what Merrill Kelly did really, really well last game. It's what Pfaadt did in Seager's first at-bat really well. First pitch, Seager likes to chase early, went away, and he got Seager out the first at-bat, second at-bat. That was a tough one. That's a 114-mile-an-hour missile.
Yeah, it was. There was another 114-mile-an-hour missile that we'll get to in a minute. But the Walker mistake, to me, I think that I would like to put more blame on Perez-Chica, in my opinion, because that's a basketball term for me, KYP, know your personnel. You got to know Garcia on that ball at that moment. And it was a slight in-the-moment thing where, sure, if Walker's head stays up, he's able to stop, and maybe it's a close play at third. Maybe he gets back, maybe he doesn't. But to me, that really just came down to knowing not to run on Garcia in that situation, especially with no outs and with the score and the way the game was going. Adrenaline is a funny thing, though. You get the crowd going, making noise for you, and then once you see that sign, it's like, all right, I don't blame Christian Walker. He got the sign, he puts his head down, but I'm not the one so familiar with the ABCs of baseball to know to keep your head up in that kind of situation. But it's just a bang bang play, and that's what can happen. You can lose playoff baseball games, World Series games, just by that kind of mistake. Do we go to the 8th inning? Do we just breeze by the bull? It was a really good bounce back by Pfaadt in the bullpen to keep them in a position to be able to win this game, though, right? And the bullpen that they didn't use any of their high leverage guys for, and still managed to be in a position to win the game.
Yeah, it was the kind of the quote-unquote B-team bullpen. They go to Miguel Castro, gets out of an inning. They go to Kyle Nelson. They go to Luis Frias. Everybody did their job to keep them in this game. There's ways that this game could have gotten away from them with the way the offense wasn't producing, and it wasn't. They were a couple of swings away at all times, and that was really important there. And you mentioned the Pfaadt bounce back. Yeah, he was mostly pretty excellent in this game, and they gave him a longer leash than they usually do. He went up over 20 batters for the first time this postseason. So that was a good sign. Yeah, I mean, the Rangers, again, the plan flipped a little bit just because Scherzer had to come out after the third inning with back tightness. They put in John Gray, who has been lights out this series as a relief pitcher. He was not a reliever during the regular season. He had no relief appearances during the regular season, but he was humming, I think. I mean, he was hitting 98 on the gun. The slider had a hard break to it. He looked really good. So they really didn't have any opportunities until that eighth inning.
Yeah, and you and I have both been here for every game at Chase Field so far in the postseason, and to me there have been very few moments where the crowd has been given an opportunity to sort of be quiet, where there's a lull, and there's just not so much of the momentum changing, but the Semien hit for sure, and then the Seager homer were those moments where I was in center field and I could hear the Rangers fans from third base, and that's just not something you're typically used to getting in that kind of situation, and then that just kind of maintained, but then the bottom of the eighth comes up. Our boy, Jerry Geraldo Perdomo, longtime shortstop for the Arizona Diamondbacks, we hope in the future, our boy. It has to be known. I just have to tell the people, Alex, that he's our guy. If you're a part of the Jerry Hive, come join us. Give us a high five at the game. We'll give it to you right back. Just say you're a part of the Jerry Hive and everything's okay. Huge base hit. Let that boy swing. He's a good bunter, but let that boy swing. Let him swing. Up comes Corbin Carroll, and this place is rocking. It's rocking. Chapman throws 5 straight fastballs, which were, man, that was a heck of a battle. At bat, I don't even really know what to say because I thought Corbin did his job for the most part. Gets 5 straight fastballs, then he gets a slider right down the middle. Wasn't looking for a slider right down the middle. Like no one in that situation is, with Chapman in there in a 2-2 count. After what he's seeing, strikes him out, and then the 114-mile-an-hour thing that I referenced, Alex, they had the stat up online. That is the hardest hit double play in postseason history in the StatCast era. So over the last 8 years, there's never been a harder hit double play ball. And it's just like sometimes it's just not your night. Seager made it. I think it went under the radar. Not nice of a play that was by Seager. It was incredible.
The defense in this entire series has been amazing, and we saw it on both sides of this game. Yeah, it's a great play by Seager, and not only that, to corral the ball and make sure you get the out, but then the turn by Semien, knowing how much time that he had to get Marte by half of a step. So tough break from Marte. I mean, he really crushed that ball. That ball goes up the middle, and you end up with runners on first and third with one out, with your 3, 4, 5 guys coming up against Chapman. Maybe the Rangers go to the bullpen and get Leclerc up in there. It just changes everything, and it's one of those things where the big players made big plays in big moments in this game, and that just happened to favor the Rangers in this situation. But both teams have played exceptional defense, and it's kind of cool to watch both these teams. And during the regular season, these are two excellent defensive teams. You're talking about the least amount of errors in baseball in Arizona, the second fewest amount of errors in Texas. So yeah, it's been fun to watch both of those kind of bounce off of each other. But yeah, in big moments like that, when there's an opportunity to make a play, these teams have just been getting it done.
As far as looking ahead, if this said Texas sports instead of Arizona sports, we would have talked about the Garcia injury almost immediately. But that is a huge development in this series. You just hate to see anything like that happen in this kind of environment, this kind of atmosphere, this kind of the stakes involved. You want to see the best players out there. We'll see. Bruce Bochy did not offer an update after the game. Nothing from him on their Game 4 starter yet. It was reported that it was going to be John Gray. It's not going to be John Gray anymore. Lovello didn't have anything in terms of who his Game 4 starter will be yet either. But I think in terms of optimism season, Alex, I think we saw a couple of offensive guys. If you want to include Walker in this, sure, but Tommy Pham and a couple of guys had really good at-bats. The offense still, I know, 9 runs to 1 is a big drop-off, but I thought the approaches were there. And then secondly, they saved their bullpen, and they should be in line to have a really strong performance again in a bullpen game in Game 4 tomorrow. Yeah,
they should be able to shorten the game with the Thompson, Ginkel, Sewald at the end there. They didn't have to use Mantiply today either. So, yeah, we'll see where they get their length tomorrow exactly. But yeah, it's going to be kind of pieced together on both sides. We'll see if it's Heaney or Dane Dunning or Martin Perez with the Rangers. They have more options as far as guys who can give you multiple innings. But the D-backs have won bullpen games. They won a bullpen game last series, so it's not totally unfamiliar there.
Alex just said a bunch of names I've never heard of, so it's time for us to get out of here. I'm sure some of you at home know it, but I think that tells me, Alex, it's just going to be a crazy night tomorrow. Going to be a crazy night across the street, though. I'll be watching Victor Wembanyama's debut, so check that out on ArizonaSports.com if you want to see something slightly different, some basketball perhaps. I don't know, tis the season, but it's all baseball here. Alex will be back here tomorrow, and then we'll be back here again for Game 5. 2 big ones coming up. Grounds people are moving things. We should probably get out of the way now. Bye, everyone.